Hello students, today we shall go on with the next class, and in today's class we are going to discuss regarding rotational spectroscopy. In today's class we are going to discuss regarding rotational spectroscopy. In today's class we are going to study regarding the rotation of a rigid diatomic molecule and the rotational energy levels. In today's class, we are going to study regarding the rotation of rigid diatomic molecules and rotational energy levels. So, considering the rotation of a rigid diatomic molecule, let us know what is a rigid rotor. When two atoms are going to rotate, with a fixed bond length, it is called as a rigid rotor. Rotational energies are quantized and the permitted energy values may be calculated for any molecule by solving the Schrodinger's equation for the system represented by the molecule. Now, let us consider a diatomic molecules having masses m1 and m2. I am going to consider a diatomic molecule having masses m1 and m2, which are joined by a rigid bar. It is going to be joined by a rigid bar. So this is going to be a rigid bar and whose bond length is going to be fixed. So the bond length is given as R0 is equal to R1 plus R2, and I am going to express this as equation 1. The molecule rotates end over end about the center of gravity. So this is going to be the center of gravity where it is going to balance. So the atoms in this molecule are going to rotate along the center of gravity or the center of mass. At this point, M1 R1 will be equal to M2 R2. At this point, what do we observe is M1 R1 will be equal to M2 R2. The moment of inertia about the point C is given by the expression I is equal to M1 R1 square plus M2 R2 square, and this equation is numbered as 3. Now, from this expression 2, I am going to get an expression for M1 and M2. Using this expression 2, I will get an expression for M1 and M2. Next, what will I do is, I am going to substitute this expression for M1 in expression 3 and M2 in expression 3. So, for M1, here in M1, instead of M1, I am going to substitute this expression, and instead of M2 here, I am going to substitute this expression. Let us see that in the next slide. So, once I substitute the values of M1 and M2 in equation 3, the expression gets reduced to R1 R2 into M1 plus M2. Next, what am I going to do is, I am going to use equation 2 and equation 1. Using equation 2 and equation 1, I am going to get an expression for R1 and R2. Using equation 2 and 1, I will be getting an expression for R1 and R2. Now, let us see how do we get an expression for R1. Using equation 2 and 1, I know M1 R1 will be equal to M2 R2, and R2 I can express it in terms of R1 and R0. When I go on to express R2 as R0 minus R1 and simplify, I will get an expression for R1 as R1 will be equal to M2 R0 by M1 plus R2. If I substitute instead of R2, if I go on to substitute the expression for R1, I will be getting an expression for R2, and that will be M1 R0 by M1 plus R2. Now substituting this expression for 5 in expression 4. So what am I going to do is, I am going to substitute the expression R1 and R2 in this expression 4. That is, instead of R1 I am going to write down this expression. Instead of R2 I am going to write down this expression over here, which will get simplified as M1 M2 by M1 plus M2 R0 square. It will get simplified as M1 M2 by M1 plus M2 R0 square. this I am going to write it as a constant, and that constant I am going to write it, express is by mu. I am going to express it as mu, and that is known as reduced mass. Now moment of inertia I is given as I will be equal to mu r naught square. Now moment of inertia I is given as mu r naught square, where mu is the reduced mass, which is mathematically given as m1 m2 by m1 plus m2. Now to see the rotational energy levels, I know from equation 6 moment of inertia in terms of atomic masses and bond length. I know the expression 6, which is going to be an expression for moment of inertia in terms of atomic masses and bond length. By the use of Schrodinger's equation, I can show the allowed rotational energies for a rigid diatomic molecule is given by the expression Ej is equal to h square by 8 pi square I j into j plus 1 joules. This is going to be the energy for rotational energy levels, which is obtained from Schrodinger's equation as Ej is equal to h square by 8 pi square I j into j plus 1 joules. Remember, energy is going to be in terms of joules over here. J takes values from 0, 1, 2 and so on. H is going to be the Planck's constant. I is going to be the moment of inertia. In case of a diatomic molecule, I will be equal to, this I can be equal to IB or IC since both are equal. In rotational spectroscopy, we are interested in the differences in energies. In rotational spectroscopy, we are interested in the differences in energies. That is, in the corresponding frequency. I am interested in the corresponding frequency nu, which is given as delta E by h hertz, or wave number nu bar is equal to delta E by h centimeter inverse, for radiation emitted or absorbed as a consequence of changes between the energy levels when an electron is going to get excited from or get transited from one level to another energy level. I am interested in the corresponding frequency or wave number. So in rotational region spectra is expressed in terms of wave number. So energy is expressed in terms of these units itself. That is, here I am going to write on epsilon j as this is representing energy, rotational energy itself. This epsilon j or Ej will be equal to Ej by Hc will be equal to h by 8 pi square Ic j into j plus 1, where c is going to be the velocity of light in centimeter inverse and the unit of wave number is reciprocal of centimeter inverse. Equation 11 becomes Ej will be equal to b into, here students, j is missing here. There should be j over here, bj, because actually this is b, the term j must be over here. So bj into j plus 1 centimeter inverse. B is equal to h by 8 pi square Ic centimeter inverse. Equation 11 can be shown, and the equation 11 in terms of energy levels can be shown as this. When j is equal to 0, because it will be 2b, j into j plus 1, it will be 0. When j is equal to 1, it will be 2b. Likewise, when j is equal to 2, it will be 6b. So this is how I am going to get the rotational energy levels. Now to discuss the spectrum, I am interested in the difference in energy levels. Now when we are going to imagine a molecule in j is equal to 0 state, where no rotation occurs, absorbs incident light and rises to from j is equal to 0 to j is equal to 1. So it has to absorb, that is, if I see the difference, it has to absorb an amount of 2b energy. Or if it has to jump from j is equal to 1 to j is equal to 0, this amount of energy is released. Likewise, if a molecule is going to rise from j is equal to 1 to 2, when it is going to jump from 1 to 2 or from 2 to 1. 2 to 1, I'll be going to get a line at 4b. So I'm going to get a line from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1, I get a line in at 2b, from 2 to 1 or 1 to 2, 4b, and this goes on. So in general, to raise a molecule from J to J plus 1, we have, it will be B into J plus 1 into J plus 2 minus Bj, J plus 1. This expression will be simply, this is going to be when the molecule is going to get excited. It will be 2B into J plus 1 centimeter inverse. So what do we observe is, a stepwise raising of rotational energy results in absorption of spectra. When I have to absorption or emission spectra at the lines 2b, at 4b, 6b, so on. And what do we observe is, the difference in these lines, is going to remain constant, and that is going to be 2b. In case of rotational spectra, the selection rule is going to be delta J will be equal to plus or minus 1. In case of rotational spectra, what do we observe is, the selection rule will be delta J is equal to plus or minus 1. Okay, thank you.